Most people think that working past 60 gives them security, more savings, fewer withdrawals, and a sense of purpose. But those bonus years often come at a cost, emotionally, physically, and mentally. I've seen people push a little longer, only to retire feeling drained and disconnected. Because the truth is, you might not be buying more time. You might be selling some of the best years of your life for maybe a misleading sense of safety. And by the time you realize it, that window may already be closing. My name's Sean Stevenson. I'm a certified financial planner and wealth associate at Confluence Financial Partners, where I've helped dozens of families figure out not just that they can retire, but when they should. And what I learned is this: timing your retirement isn't just about your money. It's about the moments that you may never get back. So in today's video, we're going to challenge the idea that working longer is always the safer bet. Because while it may seem responsible on paper, it can quietly undermine the retirement that you've worked decades to enjoy. You're going to learn why more savings doesn't always mean more security, why your sense of purpose doesn't have to disappear with your job title, and how the fear of retiring too soon often keeps families in this constant cycle of delay, long after they might have earned the right to step away. And finally, I'll walk you through our exact 3-step process that we use to help clients figure out not just when they can retire or if they can retire, but when is the right time based on their personal goals, their health, and their aspirations. So I promise you're not going to want to miss this video, so let's get right into it. Most people believe that working longer means greater safety, more time to save, less pressure to withdraw, and a longer runway before the unknowns of retirement begin. Now, on the surface, that seems logically sound, but beneath it lies a quieter cost, and that's burnout. I've seen it firsthand. Clients delay retirement for just one more year, and that 1 year becomes 3, and then maybe even 5 years. And the gain, a bit more of a financial cushion, but the cost is lost energy, missed moments, and a fading sense of joy. Everyone around us tells us to play it safe, but the truth is your health, vitality, and aspirations have an expiration date. And even those who are financially ready often feel emotionally stuck, afraid to make the wrong move. Why? Because society has sold us a story. Work isn't just income, it's an identity, and it's an insurance policy for running out of money. You see, an AARP study found that 61% of Americans 50 years or older worried about outliving their savings. And actually 1 in 5 had no savings at all for retirement. Now, it's no wonder that even the financially secure feel pressure to keep going and keep working, whether due to social or internal pressures. So like I said, the real problem is that we've been taught that working longer guarantees a better outcome. But that mindset often robs us of what we can't replenish. It's like racing to the summit only to realize it really wasn't the view that you were originally climbing for anyways. So if working longer can quietly diminish the retirement that we want, why do so many thoughtful and responsible people keep doing it? From what I've seen, it's not about stubbornness or a lack of insight. It's about 3 hidden beliefs so ingrained in our financial culture that most people don't even realize that they're there. They sound reasonable, they feel safe, but they might be the very beliefs that are holding you back. So let's take a closer look at those right now. Now, the first belief is that more money equals more security. Many people keep working well past their 60s or well into their 60s because they believe that every extra dollar creates more protection. Now, retirement planning is often taught as a math equation. Save X, you can withdraw Y, and you'll be good. But when people hit that number, that X, instead of feeling calm, they feel compelled to just keep saving more, just in case. It creates a cycle of never feeling truly ready. Personal milestones get postponed. Time with loved one fades into the future plans that may never happen. And, I've worked with clients that had $2 million saved, and still they felt anxious about retirement, not because of need, but because of conditioning. Now, our second belief is that purpose really only comes from work. Now, I agree, jobs offer more than income, and they provide an identity, a rhythm, and a relevance, especially for accomplished professionals, where work kind of becomes a core part of who they are. Retirement feels less like a reward and more like an identity crisis. So this belief keeps people tethered to the roles that they might have otherwise outgrown. Then they miss the opportunity to redefine their purpose, whether it's with family, creative services, or self-discovery that early retirement or regular retirement can provide. And over time, that stagnation can drain your joy. Now, before we move on to the third belief, I wanted to say that I appreciate it can be difficult to know where you stand based on your specific circumstances. You might be wondering, how does this all apply to me? Am I at risk for these kind of beliefs? Well, unfortunately, I can't address everyone's circumstance in this video, but I have set up a completely complimentary retirement readiness review process for all the viewers of this video. So All you have to do is answer a few questions, and within 3 days, I'll send you a personalized video of me walking through your exact situation. So I would hurry up though, because I can only do this for about the first 20 people that reach out for one due to high volume. So now let's get right back to the video. And our third belief is that you only retire once, so you better be sure you're doing it right. Now, this sounds wise to wait until you're 100% sure, but that can be driven by fear, not logic. You see, retirement can be framed as this one-shot decision, and that kind of pressure makes people seek certainty that really doesn't exist. This creates a paralysis. People wait, months turn into years, hoping for the perfect sign and all the stars to align. But time doesn't really wait, and the longer that they delay, the more that their confidence erodes. When I speak with clients who are financially ready but emotionally stuck on retiring, I often like to share this. Think of retirement not as a final decision, but just as a break from your current role. If down the road they want to return to more meaningful work that's on their terms, they can. They have that option. And I found that just reminding them that it's not an all or nothing decision actually tends to bring a deep sense of relief for them. So hopefully that maybe helps for you as well. Each of these beliefs about money, meaning, and perfection share kind of one result. They keep people stuck, like we've said, stuck in the hope that one more year will finally bring clarity, stuck in a cycle where safety means delay, not freedom. But what if the solution isn't just more savings or more work or more certainty? What if you're already closer than you think? When I sit down with clients, they're not really asking, can I retire? They're asking, can I feel at peace with my decisions? And so that's why we created the Confluence Standard. It's a planning process that helps people not only understand that they can retire, but really when they should. It's not about chasing a dollar amount in your bank account. It's about finding alignment between your goals, your energy, and your finances. Because real clarity doesn't come from spreadsheets. It comes from seeing your life reflected in your plan. For those still working into their 60s, not out of financial need, but out of the fear of the unknown, we begin by replacing ambiguity with clarity. And that starts with 3 foundational exercises. And the first step is to identify your 5 most important life goals outside of work. This isn't about vague ideas like wanting to travel or just relax more. It's about putting shape and time to the things that matter most to you. So we ask clients, what are your experiences, the relationships, and the aspirations that would make this next phase of life feel deeply fulfilling? Which of those have a time limit based on your health, mobility, and energy? And that's really important. We'll touch on that in a second. And what becomes harder or impossible if you wait another 5 years to accomplish? So for example, if one of your goals is just traveling Europe, maybe we try to redefine that a little bit. Maybe it's, hiking a certain mountain range in Europe with your husband or wife while your knees still allow it. Maybe it's volunteering weekly at your grandchild's school before they hit middle school. Or maybe it's building a wellness routine where you still feel strong and able to, get out and be active. So as you can probably suspect, this second level of thinking, as I like to call it, is a difference that many people really never get to. And once you do, you realize that climbing a mountain with your husband or wife isn't something necessarily that you can just push off for forever, because at some point your body will be the one calling the shots. So by attaching an expiration date to these key goals, you gain a little bit of urgency, not panic, but clarity. You start to see the cost of delay, not just in the dollar terms, but in the missed moments if you keep delaying too long. So then the second step would be to audit your current lifestyle costs and your future needs. So we walk through how you currently spend, how you might shift some of your spending post-retirement, and what non-negotiables that you want to keep in your budget. Then we tier those expenses into 3 tiers based on your needs, wants, and wishes. And I recently did a very in-depth video on how we do this sort of spending for our families that we work with. So I'll link that right above me if you're interested to learn more on that. And then the third step is to create a confidence gap snapshot. So if you still don't feel 100% confident in your decision to retire, this exercise could be a turning point for you. It's where fear begins to shift into understanding. So what is it? The confidence gap snapshot is a visual comparison between what you think you need to feel safe and feel good about retiring, a dollar amount, and then we compare it to what really you actually have in your assets, your income, and your overall financial picture. And what this is designed to do is to separate emotion of how you feel versus the math, and to highlight that the uncertainty in the numbers probably isn't as far away as you thought. It tends to be more of just a lack of clarity. So how it works is the first step is to capture the perception, your perception of what you need to retire. We like to ask clients or prospects, what number do you feel like you need to be confident in retiring? So some might say 2 million, maybe 3 million, maybe I need 4 million just to be 100% sure I won't run out ever. And so it's great. This gives us a target shaped by emotion and not necessarily calculation. Then what we do is we'll kind of establish the reality and really run the numbers. So what we'll do is we'll calculate your monthly retirement spending target based on your goals and not just a, back of the napkin average. And then we'll look at your guaranteed income sources, whether it's Social Security, maybe you have a pension, and then we'll look at your flexible income. So that'll be withdrawals from your 401ks, your IRAs, maybe your taxable savings. And what we'll do is we'll overlay that with your current net worth, and we'll model out sustainable withdrawal strategies using conservative assumptions. And the whole goal here is to be able to visualize the difference. So what we'll do is we'll look at on a side-to-side comparison as far as what you thought you needed, as far as a number is concerned, versus what you really actually need based on your unique lifestyle, your resources, and your different income sources. And this is why financial planning is really so personal. And so just as an example, what this could reveal is that maybe you said, I need $2 million to be sure that I'm good to retire. But based on your actual spending and your goals, like I just mentioned, maybe it turns out that you really only need 1.4 million to safely withdraw from and to live on a 30 or 35-year retirement. And that's including a strong buffer. So right there, we just identified that maybe you have over $1.4 million saved that you really aren't going to plan to use. And so then we can talk through what delaying another 2 years might look like, both from an asset, what's that going to grow to, but then also the cost of that. So your energy, your flexibility, and that irreplaceable time that you could have had with your family that you were spending at work. And through this planning process, we can model different scenarios where it's, okay, well, what if I had to retire today? What does that look like? What does it look like if I just wait 2 years rather than 5 years? Or maybe what if I am able to take my job and kind of shift down into part-time or do more of a consulting type gig? And so all this is really done with the hope of just making sure that you have confidence from the context. Because when people don't know what life is going to look like or what it will cost or how their money is going to fit in and support their lifestyle, they just default to delaying it. It's just easier that way. Not because they have to, but because the uncertainty feels safer than just guessing. So clarifying this turns retirement from a blurry risk into a clear decision. And this shift can help redefine your goals. Like I said, it's not about hitting the perfect number. It's about knowing that your life, the life that you want to live, is going to be supported by the resources that you may already have. Clients start saying, I see it. I get it now. It feels real. And it feels like something that I'm comfortable with transitioning into. And so they stop chasing more like so many do in their late 50s and 60s. And they just start aligning better with what they really wanted in the first place. And more importantly, they start beginning to live the life that they spent decades working for, saving for, and investing for. So if you're wondering whether or not it's really time to stop working, or if you're just one more year away, I want to challenge you to rethink the question, because it's not really about how much longer you can or have to work. It should be about how many meaningful years that you want to enjoy. By understanding these 3 common beliefs and working with an advisor to help you identify when the right time to transition to retirement could be, you can retake control of some of your best years of your life. And like I mentioned earlier, if this message resonates with you and you're watching all the way to the end of the video, I'd highly encourage you to reach out for a retirement readiness review. I'll put a link in the description if you'd like to learn more about it. But now I appreciate you taking the time to educate yourself and learn a little bit more about what early retirement could look like for you. And as always, great days ahead.